My main purpose for being here today is to introduce Professor Klein and the topic of 22 and 23 week infants. But Dr. Rajiv asked me to say a few words about the Tiniest Babies Registry, which has been an interest of mine for the past 20 years. Here's the homepage for the Tiniest Babies Registry. If you would like to investigate this, the easiest way to find it is simply to enter Tiniest Babies Registry into Google.
Dr. Bell, we cannot see your screen.
He has to share the screen. Tawfiq, he didn't share the screen.
Yeah.
Let me try it again. Are you seeing it yet?
Yes, doctor, please proceed.
Okay, you have it now?
Yes, doctor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
This is the homepage for the Tiniest Babies Registry. This is something that I started in 2000. My interest in this actually began in 1994 when we had our first under 400 gram baby at the University of Iowa. And the parents asked me, are there other babies this small that have survived? And I said, well, I know of one that I read about in a magazine, and I'll start to see what I can find. And so I began to collect these babies from the medical literature and from lay publications. And in 2000, I began the registry with 15 babies. The easiest way to find this is to Google Tiniest Babies Registry. As of today, there are 274 infants in the registry. Their birth weights range from 230 grams to 399. There are 40 infants with birth weights below 300 grams. Their gestational ages range from 21 to 34 weeks. We have 2 infants with gestational ages of 21 weeks. At least one of those was an IVF infant, so we know that the gestational age is accurate. It was 21 and 6 days. Of course, nearly all of these infants are small for gestational age, because to be 400 grams and appropriately grown, you would be 19 or 20 weeks. And so these are all babies who are undergrown, and 69% of them are girls, because girls mature more quickly than boys in utero. And so as you all know, females have a survival advantage at extreme premature birth. Here you can see the gestational age distribution of the babies in the registry. Most of these babies are between 22 and 26 weeks. There you can see the 134-week baby way out there. That baby was born in the 1930s, but most of them are 22 through 26 or 27 weeks. Here you can see the distribution by year of birth. Very peculiarly, there were 3 babies I found born in the 1930s. These were all severely undergrown babies. They were born in 3 different countries in 3 different years. And then there was a 50-year gap with no babies reported until the 1980s. And now you can see they're coming more often. Here are the countries of birth. The United States has the largest number, but Germany and Japan have large numbers. I think there are quite a few more Japanese babies that haven't made it into the registry yet, but there are a scattering of other countries, mostly in Europe, but a few in other places. No babies from India yet, none from the Emirates. This baby, baby Sabi, was born in California in 2019 and was at the time the smallest baby in the registry, 245 grams. But since then, she's been surpassed by 3 babies from the University of Cologne that weighed less than 245. The smallest baby now is a male baby who weighed 230. The University of Cologne has 4 of the 10 smallest babies. They do remarkable things there. I believe that their results are true and their weights are accurate because one of my colleagues has visited them, and they do quite amazing work there. You can see now that of the 10 smallest babies, 5 are male, and Germany has 6 of the 10 smallest babies. Only 2 of these are from the US. So this was about the birth weight limit of viability. Now I'm going to move briefly to talking about the gestational age limit of viability. And I've been working in this field now for more than 40 years. And over the course of my career in the United States, the gestational age limit of viability has dropped by about 1 week every decade, and to the point where we're now at 22 weeks. And this has been an amazing phenomenon to me. Each time we've reached another limit, we thought we would never see any further movement. And in the 1990s, I did an interview with the New York Times and said 24 weeks has to be the absolute limit, as I guess it is in India now, because of the biology. The physical distance from the alveolus to the airway is such that we can't possibly have a gas exchange any earlier. But of course, we've, as Dr. Klein will explain to you later, we've now seen some advances beyond this because of the wonders of antenatal corticosteroids and the biologic variability. So how do we know when it's time to start treating younger babies? And what I've told my colleagues from time to time is that you have to push the wall to see whether it will move. Now, we have good survival at 22 weeks at the University of Iowa, but this is not the only place in the world where this is occurring. Here you can see some results from recent publications around the world. From the years 2012 to 2016, in the United States, this is the Vermont-Oxford network, 9% of live births at 22 weeks survived, and 29% of babies admitted to the NICU survived to hospital discharge. In the Japanese neonatal network, so this is a national cohort, 46% of live births survived and 51% of babies admitted to the NICU during these years, 2008 to 2012, and the results are better nowadays. In a Swedish national cohort, 30% of live births at 22 weeks and 58% of NICU admissions survived to 1 year of age. And if we look at particular hospitals, the University of Cologne, 61% of 22-week babies admitted to the hospital survived to discharge. At the University of Uppsala, 52%. At the University of Iowa, during a particular 10-year interval, we had 70% survival at 22 weeks. And you can see that in certain hospitals, over 50% of live births survived to discharge. Professor Klein will tell you that this number hasn't held up over a longer interval, but still we have over 50% survival of live births and admissions at the University of Iowa. So this is to show you that it's not just at the University of Iowa, but there are selected places around the world where we're seeing these high survival rates at 22 weeks. So this is the main theme of today's webinar is the management and outcomes of periviable infants born at 22 and 23 weeks with a positive, proactive philosophical approach, the Iowa way. And Professor Klein is going to spend some time telling you how we do it at Iowa and how we've achieved these results. Now, Professor Jonathan Klein joined the University of Iowa faculty in 1990, 2 years after I became the director of the Division of Neonatology, and he was one of the first faculty members I recruited to our division, and the most important recruitment that I made during my years as leader of the division there. And 15 years later, shortly before I stepped down as division director, I appointed John as medical director of the ICU. And this was also a very important appointment that I made. John has won awards for his teaching, for his clinical service, and for his research. He's been in the Best Doctors in America since 1998. He's conducted research on lung development and pulmonary management. Early in his faculty career, he ran a basic science lab studying fetal and neonatal lung development, particularly the role of EGF receptor in lung development, and then subsequently moved his research to studying aspects of studying clinical and translational aspects of lung management in the infant. John is especially well known for his research and expertise in high frequency ventilation, as Dr. Rajiv said, and application of novel ventilation strategies. And he's frequently consulted from neonatologists and from units around the world for help with management of particularly challenging patients. Recently, because of our unit's excellent outcomes, Professor Klein has been in high demand as a speaker for advice on management of infants born near the limit of viability. And thanks to the COVID pandemic, he's been able to give talks at many places that haven't required traveling quite so far, and he's done many of these virtual presentations. John has unique personal qualities that have made him very effective in his role as our medical director and a leader in the field. He understands the physiology of neonatal intensive care and can explain it in easily understood terms. He has great clinical instincts, but also uses evidence to guide practice. His clinical leadership is respected by all, and so he's able to build consensus, which is critically important when you lead a multidisciplinary group in a highly stressful place like a neonatal intensive care unit. He's able to develop practice guidelines and get others to follow them, so that we have a uniform approach to most aspects of practice, which is critically important to our good outcomes. Although the team is essential, its leader is really the key element. And Professor Klein develops a huge portion of credit for our excellent outcomes. So I am happy to introduce Professor Klein and turn over the program.